Welcome to NACD BoardVision, where leading boardroom advisors, governance professionals, and seasoned directors discuss critical issues related to your responsibilities in the boardroom.
Welcome to NACD's BoardVision. I'm Peter Gleason, Managing Director of the National Association of Corporate Directors. I'm joined again today by John Berry, leader of PwC's Center for Board Governance. Welcome back, John.
Thanks, Peter. It's nice to be here.
Well, John, after about a month's delay, the much-anticipated final rules from the SEC on the Dodd-Frank whistleblower provisions are finally out. As we've discussed on a few of our previous BoardVision episodes, the Dodd-Frank Act calls for an award to whistleblowers who provide information to the SEC related to violations of federal securities laws that result in a sanction of $1 million or more. Whistleblowers could receive an award between 10% and 30% of the monetary sanctions. So we're looking at a minimum of $100,000.
You're right, Peter. The long-awaited final rules are out, and there were a number of hotly debated issues that are now settled. The most significant issue is whether whistleblowers will be required to report their concerns through the company's internal compliance program either before or at the same time they report to the SEC. As you know, companies spent a lot of time post-Sarbanes-Oxley creating internal reporting mechanisms to capture employee concerns, and were very adamant about having the whistleblowers report first to the company so as not to undermine their own internal compliance systems. Though the final rules encourage internal reporting first, they do not require it.
This is the point the NACD had been most vocal about. We submitted a comment letter several months ago, met with SEC Chair Shapiro and Commissioner Walter, along with their respective staffs, and even testified at a congressional hearing on this very topic, supporting companies' concerns about this rule undermining their compliance systems. John, as you mentioned, it's not a requirement for the whistleblower to report internally first, but the rules do encourage it. Can you elaborate on this?
Well, reporting internally is one of the 4 key factors that could increase the amount of an award the whistleblower could get under the final rule. And the fact that it is one of those 4 is significant, since in the proposed rules it was not mentioned as a key factor in considering the amount of an award, but was only mentioned as one of 11 optional consideration points. This change shows the SEC's effort to be somewhat responsive to the concerns of business.
Okay, that's a pretty significant change. The other big change is a new opportunity for a whistleblower who uses the company's internal compliance system.
Yes. There's actually a second potential path to get an award, which is a new provision that was inserted in the final rules. If a complaint placed with the company's compliance system ultimately results in a successful enforcement action by the SEC as a result of the company's own investigation and self-reporting, the whistleblower will still be entitled to an award based on the results of that entire investigation. To clarify, the SEC is saying that it may offer an award even when the whistleblower's claim is managed solely through the company. This also shows the SEC's effort to be responsive to some concerns of business.
Also critical is the point you raised about the entire investigation. Another new provision provides that if multiple penalties arise in the investigation, the whistleblower could receive an award based on the entire amount penalized, even if the issue actually submitted by the whistleblower is only one part of the bigger picture. Another deep concern is about whether people who participated in wrongdoing would be eligible for an award. The draft rules weren't too clear on this issue. John, can you tell us about how the final rules came out?
Well, Peter, someone who has participated in the wrongdoing would still be eligible for an award, but the SEC is prepared to take inappropriate behaviors into account by decreasing the amount of the award that the person would receive. In fact, the SEC has described 3 criteria that it will consider in decreasing an award, of which culpability in the wrongdoing is one.
Another aspect companies were concerned about was who actually qualifies as a whistleblower, or more importantly, doesn't qualify.
Per the rules, a whistleblower is someone who voluntarily provides the SEC with original information that leads to a successful enforcement action and a monetary sanction of over $1 million. But the real concern was whether people who are part of the compliance function, such as internal audit, compliance personnel, attorneys, or external auditors, could become whistleblowers. Generally, unless the company is not responding to their concerns timely, these people are barred from being defined as whistleblowers.
John, as we've all discussed, this whistleblower program is going to generate a significant number of claims. The SEC has announced that it's now prepared to deal with them. What do you think?
Well, Peter, in its press release announcing the final rules, the SEC indicated that the Office of the Whistleblower has been established, a leader has been appointed, and initial staffing of the office has been completed. In addition, the Investor Protection Fund, which will be used to pay awards to eligible whistleblowers, has been fully funded. With all that being said, it still remains to be seen if they can handle the volume of activity that's expected.
So at the end of the day, many companies can use the rules to encourage whistleblowers to report internally, given that the SEC has in fact stated claims processed through the company channels may still be eligible for an award.
In a nutshell, that is correct. Peter, that's why we encourage rigorous board oversight of the internal compliance program, such as reinforcement of the code of conduct, training, hotline maintenance, the anti-retaliation provisions, etc.
Well, it's certainly a new day in the world of whistleblowers. As always, thanks for spending some time with us and for your insights, John.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
That wraps up another edition of NACD BoardVision. On behalf of PwC and the National Association of Corporate Directors, I'm Peter Gleason, and thanks for joining us.